breaking news right now. We have SkyCal overhead on a police pursuit. This is LAPD pursuing a burglary suspect in that U-Haul that you're seeing right now. It's relatively slow at the moment. Right now, we're not quite sure how many people might be in that U-Haul this morning. But we do know so far our information is limited. This is, though, near LAX. You can just see one vehicle behind. And now you can see that U-Haul making a U-turn with several vehicles behind.
Yeah, it looks like it's pulling into this plaza right here. Kind of a slow one. Now, we're learning that this burglary potentially happened in the 1100 block of 32nd Street. So from there, this is where the pursuit has gone up. But not a lot of traffic, not a lot of people out there this morning. You can see the black and whites, follow this burglary suspect pretty closely. And looks like it's going on the freeway right now, or attempting to go on the freeway. Of course, this is near LAX, so we got to make sure that we stay a distance away with SkyCal. But not a lot of people on the road cleanup. So this is a good thing, because if there was a lot of people, then, pedestrians, that could be definitely more dangerous. Mm-hmm. But this is pretty slow. Sometimes we could see the speed that they're going in this case, but I'm going to guess 35, 40 miles per hour.
Yeah, it doesn't look very fast at all, but it is kind of interesting for it to be in this U-Haul this morning, and you saw it pull into that plaza. Looked like it could have been a gas station, but pull in and then pull right back out. We do, though, have one of those officers following quite closely behind this morning. So far, no word on if CHP has been called on this. It did briefly go on the 405 freeway. Now it looks like it might be back on some of those surface streets, but either way, it's a burglary suspect pursuit that we know of. This, again, is near LAX. So far, we haven't gotten any issues when it comes to air traffic. Do you think it's going into another spot? That looks like just a roundabout, little U-turn, possibly going back on the freeway, because that looks like a ramp there too. This looks like it's right around La Cienega right now. The Florence exit, there's the freeway sign, so you can see the freeway exit there.
And
but look, it looks like it's open. The back is open, and I don't know, I can't, obviously it's too dark to make out what might be in the back of that U-Haul, but definitely open there. So far nothing falling out of the U-Haul this morning, which is good, because that could be dangerous for the road for sure.
Yeah, and if you ever driven one of these U-Haul trucks, you know that
they're hard.
They're hard to drive. You definitely don't have a lot of steering capability. Oh, was it right by Randy's Donuts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pulling in again.
Pulling into a back alley right there. This is probably where it's going to come to an end, because with this tight spot, or maybe not.
Yeah, okay. I don't feel like this person.
He's getting out of Randy's Donuts. Okay, the back is open. One person.
Oh no, are they getting in another car? That looks like a getaway car.
Wow.
Oh, the officer was really close. That when an officer jumped out of the car, tried to follow them, tried to get them to not jump in that car, but that was in fact a getaway car. Yeah, for sure. That's crazy.
That is very crazy. So obviously now the chances of this person getting away a lot easier. Could you tell if there was one or two people out there?
It looked like someone jumped out of the car for that person to jump into the vehicle, but again, it happened so quickly, it's hard to tell. But now
you gotta bear with me, because I'm going to go on the Fox 11 Los Angeles YouTube channel. So I'm going to go on to... So you're going to bear with me. It's going to it might take a minute. It might take a second.
I have a question.
You can ask me anything.
Where did we come from? Do I matter?
Look at those speeds. Let me bring up some of that. I wonder if the speedometer at this kind of distance. But
my freaking computer needs to... It's been old. I've had it for like 6 or 7 years. I've had it for like... Sorry, guys. You're going to have to bear with me. I need you to take a deep breath. There you go.
It is getting into a car. Getting into a car. Oh, okay. Oh, look at that. LAPD trying to block them. Oh, that was,
I've never
this
seen
is, you either got really good friends or really good really good friends that are making bad decisions. That was not the move. LAPD now in pursuit of a different vehicle, but this definitely changing up a lot. That car really moving, and definitely look at those speeds out there. LAPD, they're going to keep up with this best they can. Going to be the helicopter really holding its own right there. But again, now he's got somebody else roped into there. This is aiding a fleeing vehicle. This is going to be an interesting thing. I don't know if LAPD is going to keep up with it with the helicopter. I definitely see the lights now making a southbound turn. The other vehicle staying with it. That darker colored car going to make it a little bit more difficult for us to keep up. But LAPD, the helicopter, again, LAX kind of giving us the hard time.
Yeah.
And I can see him right there. That's the bad guy right there. And look at those speeds. Let me bring up some of that. I wonder if the speedometer is going to work at this kind of distance. But, yeah, look at that. Really keeping moving down there. The guys on the ground are going to try to keep up with him. But, again, this pursuit, it's a strange turn this morning and make it a little bit more difficult. Maybe if we can get a little bit off to the right, Dylan, we can keep a better eye on it. Making his way, looks like Century Boulevard or Airport, Avalon. I don't know if he made a U-turn. I'm going to try to stay a little wider, see if we can see where he's going, at least where the LAPD is going. Definitely looks like he made his way back over, looking like he's going back towards the freeway. Let's see if we can get over here and see something moving a little quicker. It's a little, go ahead, Brooke.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that before. I know you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. But, when he was going slow in that U-Haul, making different turns, going in different parking lots, you wonder what's going on. What is he thinking? It never crossed my mind that he was thinking of meeting up with someone else to hop in their car. Obviously, this car can go a lot faster than that U-Haul truck.
Definitely a lot faster, and the driving much more reckless. This puts a lot of people in danger out there. And again, we're getting glimpses of him as he's making his way. Now this is going to be tough to keep up with him. Making his way over towards the freeway, and I don't know if he popped out on the other side. But definitely the buildings were blocking us. Maybe he made his way onto the southbound 405 freeway right there. I didn't see him come out the other side. LAPD maybe got a better view of where he is. I don't think that's him because I didn't see headlights on that vehicle, but we're going to see where LAPD is behind right there. North 405? Dylan says he's definitely on the North 405, so let's take a peek and see if we can find a vehicle moving quickly without headlights on. But, definitely a much more dangerous situation. Now that he's on the 405, I feel a little better for the folks, for the civilians out there. But he might have blended in. We'll see if we can pick this back up.
All right, so we do know that at some point the person that was driving the stolen, the U-Haul believed to be stolen, involved in a burglary, stopped and rendezvoused at the Randy's Donuts of all things. So obviously an iconic spot, a place that there is the video right now from earlier.
Comes to a stop. There's another vehicle.
This is from just a few moments ago when the U-Haul stopped there at the Randy's Donuts, and someone stops in a vehicle, picks up the driver, and off they go inside another car. And this car, obviously, a lot faster than that U-Haul, and able to evade police again. And so now we believe this car that went near the LAX area back onto the 405, and we do believe that this suspect now went northbound on the 405. It didn't look like students.
So, thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are tuning in to my live streaming, this is a police pursuit of the burglary suspects. Burglary suspects near LAX because they've been giving the news helicopters a long time. And we have learned that the LAPD airship cannot fly over to 77th and Newton until further notice. Is incident 3416 that we've learned some troubling news. The police helicopters, the LAPD air unit helicopter, and the news helicopters cannot fly on top of that LAX's airspace. It's a Bravo class airspace. that means that they cannot fly through that until further notice, because this is why it's a restricted airspace, because they have landing planes coming in here. Just a couple weeks ago, there was a assignment desk editor, courtesy of CBS LA, had interviewed that manager, that I'm assuming the FAA administration manager. They did have an interview. Like 5 minutes later, they have an interview via Zoom or Skype. I'm sure not. While they conduct this evaluation, because while they are conducting the FAA evaluation, this is where it's coming to a conclusion that this is why it's going to be difficult. When, for example, we have a pursuit that happened last night before I went to bed, and this is why it was too much, because of the low cloud visibility issues that they were having to keep track of this pursuit, and of that stolen pickup truck of that Ford Raptor, and we're gonna talk about the pursuit right now. This pursuit started with a burglary suspects crossing underneath the freeways, then gets on the 405 freeway just moments ago, gets in the car with good friends that's making bad decisions that leads to the bad consequences. Unruly bad decisions could happen, and I can tell you, this is where the news helicopters has to stay a little further along the distance due to that LAX's restricted airspace. They were joyriding in that box truck. That car could go faster than a U-Haul box truck. The pursuit started on surface streets, took the U-Haul box truck on a joyriding. This started with a police pursuit with a few burglary suspects in the U-Haul, then gets in the black Lexus car, and we've got overhead about just the pursuit started, and they jumped overhead about 5 or 10, maybe 15 minutes ago in the 1100 block of South 32nd Street. This is where it took place, that I've heard what they said. This is a pursuit taking place, took the U-Haul box truck, driving slow, stopped at Randy's Donuts. I love donuts. You know, sometimes I used to drink donuts and coffees. It was on holidays last year in December of 2025. So that's where a pursuit came to a close. And look at this, that truck almost hit them. Somebody making a turn there, that truck did stop for that car. This is not what you want to see. That's why you don't need to be involved. That's why they don't need you to be involved. They should hold traffic next time. And the police units are very well behind that. Crossing underneath the boulevard thing, and there's the police stopping traffic now, so they make sure they don't get involved. Right now, traffic is light this morning. I can tell you that. It happened over a month ago, 2 months ago, and we can tell you that the suspect was driving in a U-Haul. The police pursuit had been slow at times. They were curious if that person is back in the U-Haul. There was so many boxes of deliveries. So many boxes of deliveries that I saw during the course of the pursuit before I jumped into the live streaming. Thank goodness the boxes not falling off. Thank goodness. And that's not what you want. Thank goodness that's not what you want to do, to dump the boxes out on surface roads, surface streets. And I can tell you, they're doing a great job. The police unit staying close with that vehicle, and if you really could get a good look at that car just a little bit along down here, they do know this area at this time of that morning. Not so busy. So many units behind them. They're making a left turn by the Fox Hills Mall, and you know what? They're going away again from where they can follow. They're gonna keep an eye on this. Hopefully, it does not enter into the LAX's airspace like it did 5-10 minutes ago or so, I think. And now crossing underneath the freeway, and now Now back over by the 405 freeway. Lights are out and making a turn. That's going to take him for a moment or two. They're going to lose him behind these buildings. Definitely making his way back towards them here. And they're going to keep an eye on him. He doesn't get back on the freeway. That's a big problem. Now he's going to get back on the freeway. And now not just for them. And the folks are involved when he's on these side streets, running red lights, high speeds, no lights on. Very dangerous when they're on the freeway and you don't see what's coming out. You don't know the black car going fast behind you. You could easily lose control because I can tell you, they do know where he's going. He's slowing down at these intersections. Crossing underneath the freeway, they could set up a spike strip or a pit maneuver. Or he could run out of gas. And this pursuit has been going on for about, this police chase has been going on. This has happened. They've been following this vehicle. This has been going on for about 20 minutes. This has been going on for about 20 minutes since the police started this chase. Got back on the 405 freeway, reaching at high speeds. I can tell you right now on the northbound 405 freeway, they're gonna keep an eye on that. Reaching speeds at 100 miles an hour. They're going to be hold back a little bit. The surface streets in the Inglewood area, then onto the 405 freeway. Again, this has been going on for about 15-20 minutes. This has been going on for about 15-20 minutes since the police started this chase. Now using his turn blinker and not to change lanes. Then into the Fox Hills, Culver City. Now back into Westchester Avenue, both surface streets and on the freeway. And as we can see, they're in the vehicle. They have the right side of the street in the freeway, close on this driver at that point, getting out of their box trucks, going up to that second car, joyriding and giving them a ride. And how would they expect this? Because it's so incredibly at high speeds. Because the police units are keeping track. And they're hearing from their desk is also the suspects wanted for an assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer and burglary, home invasion burglary, wanted for some violent crimes as well as the suspects. And you know, it was abandoned on that. We'll get to that later. We're going to talk about that box truck that was abandoned later when I go on to NBC's 4LA's YouTube channel. So, a lot of challenges going on. The crew and the news helicopter keeping track, and the crew on the ground trying to find this pursuit that came to an end and now keeps going and continues on. Now the LAX's airplane's taking off. They don't want to fly to that path. They don't want to interfere with that. That's not going to be good. That's not going to be okay. So I could say the police unit's very well behind them, headed northbound. And I would say, as I'm dealing with an advertisement, go. We don't want you anymore. Now they're into the LAX's downtown area, starting to make a move. Joining them, they have to cross over LAX. Same with the police helicopters as well. Certain altitude, that the tower had time to allow us to do that. So they allowed the news helicopters to do that. They're keeping an eye on it. Staying on the freeway, they found interesting that the suspect definitely starting to use his blinkers and coming up onto the 105 freeway. Again, this has been going on. They pick up the chase at 1100 block of South 32nd Street, I'm assuming, and this pursuit has been going on again for about 20 minutes since the police started this chase. Now they're still following that car with so many units behind them, heading towards Long Beach area, and a little bit closer if they can make an effort to re-engage themselves. They're not sure where the LAPD helicopter is in. All of this right now, they have no night sun on them. How come? And he was working. The pilot is doing a great job working with the tower. Now turning right onto that street, and I can tell you, you got two names: news helicopters and the police air unit helicopter. And that was amazing work. The night sun back on it now. He's back on the surface streets, speeding at 70 miles an hour as he makes his way northbound. And I can tell you, this pursuit's been going on for about 20 to 30. This pursuit has been going on for about 20 to 30 minutes since the police started this chase. Crossing underneath the freeway once again. The LAPD's helicopter, night sun back on him. Since the car is blacked out, he would go ahead towards Hawthorne, making his way back over towards LAX right there. And what is he thinking? And for a moment or two, he might stop and might slow down. And he'll bail out of the car, and they'll run. And they're going to be looking north here in a minute or two, in the next 2 minutes or so. And now this has been going on for about 20 to 25 minutes since they have started this chase. Started with a burglary suspect's home invasion. Continues on. Blackout, those speeds are still at least 85 miles an hour, I'm assuming. They want to stay on the 405 freeway? Not doing that. They're going to put together a plan. If that is a plan, they're going to pull up into the LAX's area, and the police helicopters, I know they're not allowed, they're barred from entering the airspace, so they're not allowed to. So they keep an eye on it. When they saw this pursuit going on, maybe southbound. And I'm not sure the LAPD helicopters is going to be able to. Wow, reaching at high speeds. Now making their way westbound, turning left. They didn't pay attention to what the suspect was going to turn left. Head back over to LAX. They can see the spotlight there. Going next to that gas station. It's a black Lexus. That could get up to 100 miles per hour. 102 miles per hour as well. They got the badge, sirens, lights and sirens on. Flashing lights. It's not jealousy, a Hilton hotel. And now they want to put a lot of risk. Now the police chase. Now they're going to keep going and they're going to keep following that suspect. I could tell you, he's going to go on to that. There's a person there. How could they speak into the personal tower at LAX? The news helicopters are doing an amazing job too. Is the police helicopters and the news helicopters teamwork, working their effort to go around that LAX's airspace, heading towards the driveway. Now they're gonna do a pit maneuver on that car. It's like a TVI pit maneuver. Wow, I have never ever seen that, crossing underneath the train track bridge. One officer definitely rolling up on him very close. They were going to put an end to this. He keeps going and going. When you keep going, keep driving recklessly, you could end up getting T-boned. And that could happen in the next several minutes. It's going to be long. And we're now coming towards the news helicopters. That's a positive. Wrong side of the road. A negative, bad reinforcement, bad behavior, terrible, poor choices that they've been making. Let's listen now.
You're not supposed to text and call while you're driving, but maybe just a little bit of heads up would be better than none at all. Flashing his brights as he's making that solid red right there. Another turn, definitely in the airport area, but in this case right now, almost directly under Skyfox. It's going to make it a little easier for us. We'll keep an eye on it. LAPD still in pursuit.
Stu, I got to tell you, my heart stops a little bit at every intersection because this started much earlier this morning, but as this goes on, as the time, it gets later in these early morning hours, this just increases the danger. More and more people on the roads, unsuspecting drivers, it's their everyday routine, and all of a sudden you have this. This is so dangerous.
Very dangerous, and Brooke, is exactly how I feel. I just brought the speedometer back up because just by looking at it, I had a feeling that this guy is touching the 100 mile an hours. Oh,
right.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about.
And this is the thing. I mean, is it worth it? That's what I'm always thinking to myself. Is it worth it? I mean, I realize right now you're running, you got the adrenaline going, you're driving fast, you got your buddies in your car, you're all doing felonies, and but if you take somebody's life, if you lose your own life, I mean, you got to think about family. You got to think about other people. There's a lot at risk right here. It is not just fun and games. This is not a video game. And right now, look at that, getting blocked in, and but weaving around it. It's always amazing how these when these chases happen, they catch all the lights right at the right time until it's not the right time, and then somebody gets hurt, and it's always very unfortunate. Definitely keeping an eye on it. You can see where we are. I don't really have to call it out, but the Inglewood area, this pursuit continuing out here, high speeds. These people inside the vehicle now wanted not just for burglary and felony evading, but also assault with a deadly weapon on an officer. So that's very serious charges.
That's a new charge.
And I have a
I just want to jump in here really quickly because we're getting some new reporting from our Gigi Graciette. She has been checking with her sources. This was something that started about an hour ago, picked up around 4:45. The burglary was close to the 110 and the 10, a warehouse with that U-Haul that we had seen initially with this pursuit. She's telling us that her sources are saying that during the pursuit, the burglary suspects, that there were at least 3 men inside this U-Haul, and they were seen jumping out of the U-Haul. When we saw the transfer of the driver onto a vehicle, there appeared to only be one person, the driver, at the time inside the car, but we did see the back of the U-Haul open, and the police helicopter now believes there are at least 3 to 4 people inside what is a black Lexus now that the driver of the U-Haul jumped into. So we know there's at least 2 people here inside this black Lexus, but now, according to Gigi sources, there could be 3 to 4 people inside this black Lexus. And as you said, the charges continue to pile on with now a charge from burglary to using a weapon against an officer to now assault on an officer because it almost hit one of the vehicles here.
Yeah, it's almost, ridiculous. You can't even imagine what would go through someone's mind to think, I'm going to join in on this. Your friend or whoever is already in quite a bit of trouble. And then, you saw the danger, those officers right there almost holding on to the car, the second car that pulls up to get the first guy. And then they almost hit another police cruiser also getting out of that Randy's Donuts. Just can't imagine what would go through someone's mind here.
And you have to think also that the officers have at least the license plate of this vehicle. With all the hustle and the bustle going on and the number of law enforcement around it, I'm sure that they have a license plate attached to this vehicle. And the odds that this vehicle's stolen, probably not. My guess, this is somebody that they know, that they got a hold of, and they were like, yeah, I'll come and get you type of deal. So that might be one of the reasons why we're seeing a little less of the law enforcement as the danger gets, just keeps ramping up down here. At this point, there's no LAPD. Oh, there it is. LAPD. I was going to say that they're not even over it. That night sun, we haven't been seeing it. So, but definitely nobody on the ground. Coming to another stop right there. I don't know what that was. It was in the dark. Not sure. I don't think they dropped somebody off. It looks like they were making a decision. But opening it back up again, really high speeds, very narrow streets. This is all, just not the good recipe for a good ending. And it continues on out here. Those speeds continuing to ramp up, slow down. Another solid red, making a turn there. Back onto now. Is that Western? That looks kind of I think this is 60th. But at any rate, no, it is. It is Western. This is Western. It's much narrower here. But at any rate, this continuing on, you can see that vehicle moving. Thank you, Gigi, for all that information. We all appreciate it. This is what we're always worried about right there. And then you had somebody in a scooter in the pedestrian crossing right there. But lights off, high speeds. Narrow streets, well, Slauson, maybe not that narrow, but definitely surface streets. A lot of turns out here. A pedestrian, look at that.
Oh, my goodness.
Imagine that. And, it just continues on. A lot of close calls, and you always got to think, how much longer can this go on?
As Burke was saying, especially as people start waking up, you've got more and more people on the roadway now. This is a very busy area, the Slauson and Western. So people are waking up. You've got people on the roads. You've got kids going to school. You've got people out and about. So this is definitely a much more dangerous situation as they continue to make its way through surface streets with no lights on and not obeying any traffic laws here as well.
This view we have right here just really puts it in perspective, right? So you already are in your car. You have no idea this is going on. And now you can't even see this driver coming because they have no lights on in an attempt to hide from authorities.
You, just you, building your app on base 44. Describe it. And it's real. One thought leads to more thoughts. Layer by layer, taking shape. When you need your tools.
Yeah, and when they're on those little side streets, people's lives definitely more important, but you also have animals out there. You also have, like you said, maybe somebody going to school, maybe somebody walking between their cars, not expecting somebody to be barreling down the street at 80 miles an hour with their lights off. So, and now we're doing those center lane things right here, and weaving back and forth. Yes, it's a Lexus. Yes, it's probably a little bit more sporty, definitely more sporty than the U-Haul. But, are you going to be able to outrun the helicopter? I'm venturing to say no. They've got the radios. They're definitely giving out the calls. They're letting other officers know where they're at. Look at those speeds. Triple digits on surface streets. Triple digits on surface. Over 100 miles an hour, Bob.
With no lights on. No less.
With no lights on.
Yeah.
And
a real scary situation here.
We're actually right now going to bring Gigi Graciette into the conversation here. Gigi, I hear you're getting a bit more information, right?
That's right. We first picked up this pursuit at 4:44 this morning after a burglary at a business warehouse on East 32nd Street in South Los Angeles. That is where police picked up that U-Haul with multiple suspects inside, and it was a very dangerous high-speed pursuit with the U-Haul. At times, suspects were actually jumping off the truck as police were following it. Up to 3 suspects were seen jumping off this truck as it was moving. So you can imagine just how dangerous this is. And then, of course, Skyfox above it all, when they dumped that U-Haul truck at Randy's Donuts and jumped into a waiting black Lexus, and you're looking at it live, Skyfox above it all, that car is blacked out. Now, currently it's doing about 65 miles an hour, and you see there on the right of your screen, this is the moment the driver jumped out, jumped into that waiting Lexus with about 3 or 4 other men in it, and you see the car hit the black and white, almost hit. So now that driver, in addition to facing felony charges for not stopping, for being part of a crime, he's also facing charges of assault with a deadly weapon, which is the blacked out black Lexus police officer. So that driver is now in some very serious trouble, in addition to the burglary suspect that he has in his vehicle. Now, they did dump out, and we say dump because it happened very quick and the car just kept on going. 1 suspect in the dark. LAPD officers were stopping to try to apprehend that suspect, and you continue to see this car. Now, right now, about 49, 50 miles per hour, but at one moment, this car was clocked doing 120 miles per hour on city streets. Now, they seem to be focused on this same area. They've moved a little bit. They're on Van Ness and Slauson right now in the Hyde Park area, moving very quickly, no lights. We have logged multiple close calls with innocent drivers as this driver, a male, according to police, continues to run red lights, driving erratically, speeding through city streets. A lot of folks heading out to work right now. So if you, as Stu said earlier, if you know someone who's driving in this area, please give them a heads up that there is a pursuit. The driver on South Van Ness and 65th Place, but driving very quickly. Earlier, the U-Haul seemed to be focused on a specific area near Manchester and La Cienega, and we see this a lot with pursuits. And the fact that the driver of the U-Haul jumped into a waiting car, we have seen that happen multiple times. They use their cell phone, they call up a friend, and there you see him running another red light as he makes a left turn at Florence and Haas Avenue. Yes, Bob?
No lights on, no less, Gigi, which is super scary right here in the dark. I wanted to ask you, well, first of all, you have to wonder if when they were on the cell phone, the Randy's Donuts, obviously an iconic spot, that the person who was driving the U-Haul and the person inside the Lexus said, hey, meet me at the Randy's Donuts, we'll go there, because the U-Haul did drive by several times past the Randy's Donuts, so maybe this was the rendezvous spot, and they said, well, let's get to the donut and let's get into this vehicle. From the video that we're looking at right now, from what we could tell and what we could see, only one person got out of that U-Haul, but you were saying that people were jumping out of the U-Haul during the pursuit prior to when we saw this. So maybe they all got into that Lexus, or other people had gotten to the Lexus prior to the driver getting out of that vehicle at the Randy's Donuts?
That could be, because LAPD, and right now it's important to know, Bob, LAPD patrol units are not currently in pursuit of the car. This is being monitored by their air unit. It's called tracking. So the LAPD airship is up above. They are not following the car for multiple reasons, but the primary reason is it is simply too dangerous. And they always hope that if the driver doesn't see those flashing lights behind him, doesn't see the black and whites, he will take his foot off the gas and start driving a little bit more calmly. He'll calm down because he feels he's not being pursued any longer. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be working in this case. The car, you see it going against traffic, driving the wrong way at times, running red lights, still blacked out, still speeding through city streets. So it does not appear to be working, but LAPD continues to be tracking this vehicle. And yes, Bob, police did report seeing 3 or 4 people in the black Lexus that picked up the driver of the U-Haul. So as you mentioned, they could very well be those other suspects who jumped out. And we're reporting, LAPD reporting, that black Lexus did just get involved in a crash, but just kept on going. So now you may have innocent people involved in a crash.
Yes.
We may not have seen it because it is so dark, and there he goes, just speeding along, blacked out, so dangerous at this time of the morning, at any time really, Bob.
You know, Gigi, I want to jump in here because police pulling back, they do this for multiple reasons. It's all in an effort to protect the public, because the fact of the matter is, if you have multiple cruisers behind this suspect's car, it's even more, it increases the danger for people who are just either walking to the bus stop, you know, they can have their children with them, people who are driving down the road and don't know this is coming. This is so dangerous.
Right, they go into what's called tracking mode, Brooke. That's where the chopper continues to follow the suspect vehicle, and all the black and whites are ordered to back up. Now, they're still in the neighborhood. There they are, and they have re-engaged the pursuit. They feel it's time to get back in it and try to stop this guy before this ends in a tragedy involving innocent people. You see the Lexus still speeding down the street, 45, 50, 70, now 80 miles an hour. I can't even keep up with how fast he's going down a city street, and you can see the morning traffic there. Newton Division, they started this pursuit, and they are back in it again. They have re-engaged. At one point, they had about 6 black and whites behind this guy. They disengaged. They called the pursuit off, went into tracking mode for safety reasons, but apparently the incident commander feels it is time to get back in it. Taking the patrol units from behind the suspect did nothing to stop him, so they are back in pursuit now. And you can see this guy running red lights. He just ran that light there at Main and 57th, doing 50, 60, 70 miles an hour on city streets. And you see there, from Sky Falk, from Stu Mundel's perspective, you can clearly see the car is blacked out, so no one can see the car coming towards them or coming at them. And there he goes.
Yeah, we saw speeds upwards of 115 miles per hour through surface streets here in the dark as people are waking up, going about their day and starting the day and leaving their homes and hitting the streets here. It is definitely a very dangerous situation there. We've seen that the LA airship, LAPD airship, has done a pretty good job, even with the car blacked out with no lights on, keeping track of this vehicle. The vehicle seems to be moving around this area, the South LA area, Westchester area, around the LAX, and kind of taking a circuitous route all throughout these neighborhoods. But yeah, it doesn't look like this person is going to stop. It certainly is a real dangerous situation here. But you know what makes it that much more difficult, Gigi, also are the flight restrictions here near LAX as well. You know, the very busy time in the morning when you have all of the planes that are taking off and landing from LAX.
That's right. It's been very challenging for the LAPD chopper, which has been doing an amazing job tracking this car. And if you're just joining us here on Good Day LA, we are covering a pursuit of burglary suspects. Police started this just after 4:40 this morning after a burglary was reported at a business warehouse on 32nd Street. A U-Haul was involved with multiple
That's why I'm right.
burglary
I was right.
suspects inside. During the police pursuit,
right.
Pursuing units reported seeing at least 3 male suspects jumping off that U-Haul as police were in pursuit. At one point, the U-Haul pulled into Randy's Donut after circling that same area multiple times and jumped into a waiting Lexus. Police now believe the driver of the U-Haul called a friend. He phoned a friend who picked him up at Randy's Donuts, and that is the car you see. Sky Fox above it all, also doing an amazing job tracking this suspect in the black Lexus. Police believe there were 3 to 4 suspects inside, and sources are now texting me, telling me that they believe 2 of them did get out in the dark at one point. Unclear if police have apprehended those suspects yet. But this driver of the Lexus, in addition to the burglary suspect and in addition to felony charges for aiding and abetting another felony suspect, this guy is now facing assault with a deadly weapon because he rammed or attempted to ram a black and white. And police just reported they saw the driver or the passenger throw something out of the window. This is also something we have seen multiple times. Usually that something is a weapon. Sometimes it's stolen merchandise they have with them inside the car. Sometimes it's narcotics, anything they don't want to be caught with. But that driver or the passenger just threw something out of the window. Pursuing units report.
Very interesting.
Yeah, Gigi, I'm going to step out at this time, bring Jen Lammers here into this conversation. We're coming up on 6 a.m. We've been following this. This has been going on for at least an hour at this time, Bob.
Yeah.
Starting with an alleged burglary of a business. Now we've tacked on new charges. We're looking at a second vehicle involved in this.
Gigi Graciette still joining us here with our coverage here of this police pursuit. She's telling us this started at around 4:44 this morning in the South LA area. Started off as a burglary involving several suspects and a U-Haul, and the police were in pursuit of this U-Haul at the time throughout this over hours-long pursuit. Apparently, police are telling us that the suspects, many of them, jumped out of the U-Haul through various parts of the pursuit, and then we saw it all come to all change at one point when the driver drove past the Randy's Donuts a few times, then circling back. And joining this driver of a black Lexus, we saw the driver get out of that U-Haul and go into this Lexus. On the right-hand side of your screen, you see what happened earlier this morning as that took place. The U-Haul coming to a stop, the driver jumping out, bailing out of the U-Haul, then going into that Lexus.
Yeah, within seconds it all unfolded, and then since then you've seen this Lexus speeding triple digits down back streets with the lights off, going down one-way streets, going the wrong direction, weaving in and out of traffic, evading authorities. Police have followed this car closely, and then they've backed off. In the interest, of course, of the public, they don't want to get too close because obviously you're seeing more and more traffic start to build because we are approaching that morning rush, and they don't want to put the public in danger.
If you were sexually abused,
okay, I'm done with this kind of crap. This stop, no more.
Let's bring in
I have to mute this profanity. I'm sorry. Can you please forgive me? A matter of fact, it's the second time that they're putting out an advertisement. This did that to me on my first live streaming, the first time, and the second time, 2 times now. Ridiculous. I'm letting you guys listen for the continue. Keep on listening, okay?
Right now, we know there are at least 2, the driver and then the driver of the U-Haul. But when we saw that U-Haul stop, the back had been opened, and police telling our Gigi Graciette that a couple of suspects had bailed out at some point. It's not known, not clear if they were arrested or apprehended by police officers, or it's possible that this driver, who has been communicating with the driver in the U-Haul and others, may have picked up some of those suspects along the way. So there's possible there could be more than 2 people inside this vehicle that continue to speed. Now in the Leimert Park area, this is Vernon and 7th and 6th Avenue, but really busy parts of South LA now, and busy parts near the airport area.
Right.
It's making it extremely dangerous when this driver has been driving at these excessive speeds.
We had heard we actually saw this several times. People were walking across the street, nearly hitting pedestrians, nearly hitting other vehicles as well as they approach these intersections, just going through red lights and the like. Let's get up to Stu, because he's been pursuing this since the very beginning. Stu, I mean, we've kind of seen this vehicle concentrated in the South LA area, near LAX, Westchester. Does it seem to be they have a path going here? Really? And then we just saw. Yep. That's it. That's what we were hoping would not happen.
Outrunning. Look at that. One of them. That's one. LAPD. They are actually over it, so they're going to get a better shot. They're keeping an eye on that person right there, which I believe is going to be the driver. But they have the set. They've got the mindset to pull their hoodie over their head as they start running. I'm not sure what that idea was, but right there you can see one of those suspects now finally slowing down. Looks like he's trying to change his clothes, and now he's still making his move right
Why
there.
is he changing his clothes to be intimate and be naked?
Somebody in an intersection right there. LAPD, they definitely have their light on it. They also have the benefit of the
I apologize. Changing his clothes and running. What is he doing, man?
They're getting a little bit of a better idea where that suspect is. I definitely know they're going to start making some calls right there. Let's take a quick peek at that car and the vehicle that struck it. There you go. You got somebody out of the car. I'm not sure if that's the one that was...
I was listening for about 50 minutes now. Excuse me. I was listening for... I had to pause. I accidentally paused it. I paused the video by accident. Please forgive me. So there's a police unit right there coming in and swarming in the area. You're gonna have that 48th Street West 48th Street westbound closed off for several hours because they're gonna get the suspect in custody. They're gonna get the suspect into police custody. And there was a Kia Optima that did crash, got T-boned, and according to their perspective, 3 or 4 male suspects got into that waiting Lexus car, jumped into that waiting luxury car. They've tracked that car for about 35 to 40 minutes since they've started this chase, and we know he's running into these neighborhoods in South LA, Hyde Park, Arlington Avenue, West 48th Street. This is where it's been going on for about 45 minutes. 45 minutes now. Pursuit went out for about 45 minutes now. Pursuit went out for about 45, 50. Pursuit went out for about 45 to 50 minutes now. Since they have started this chase, going around evasive maneuvers, going around that car, backing off that was getting ready for work, and now, thank goodness they stopped. You don't know what's coming. You don't expect someone coming up behind you. You don't know. You don't expect someone to change lanes, use your blind spots. That also, you don't see what's coming. You don't see the pursuit suspect coming up behind you. You got crashed and you got T-boned. You don't know when to stop for these pursuit suspects. Let them go through. And now it's coming to an end. Got T-boned a little bit. Now running around. He's the one that caused all that problems that morning, and he's paying the price for the consequences and for the actions. Bad choices could lead to bad consequences, and could lead up to serious consequences for their bad behavior and the repercussions of the bad attitude and making bad decisions. After it went all the way to LAX, into downtown LA, South LA, crossed underneath the 110 freeway, dealing with some LAX airspace tower Bravo once again, going into these neighborhoods, reaching speeds at 103 miles an hour, and he was crashing at times, going around, turning left, almost crashing into that car, and the units were behind that car just half an hour ago, several hours ago. Pursuit went on for about 55-60 minutes. Then they were monitoring it in the tracking mode of that car, running red lights, driving fast, bad behavior, spiraling out of control on unison, dangerous police pursuits, fast and furious, getting out of control. He was speeding up 45, 46 to 49 to 50 miles an hour just half an hour ago. And as he was just moments ago, long time. In their perspective, the car was acting out. This was acting like a pit stop. It's been acting like a pit stop. Race car tournaments championship, and racing luxury car tournament championship. And this was a pursuit going on for several hours now, and I can tell you it came to an end. It's coming to a crashing end. It comes to a conclusion. And the two suspects in police custody, and two individuals were dropped off earlier on 30 minutes ago, and I can tell you why. He was running for the police. Not only the cops could stop him, they tried to ran that car off the road, went onto the northbound 405 freeway for a longer period of time. There was morning rush hour commute, traffic congested a little bit on the right side of the northbound 110 freeway. The northbound seems to be light at that moment, and I can tell you, it's a rough area. They're gonna check for these two suspects. They have their guns drawn, and now I could tell you why they're gonna get this access to that person. Two suspects, quickly still being armed out there. And it was already that at 48th Street that I've said, and there was the other vehicle walking around. Airbag deployment. Why don't they have a collision avoidance system? He's going to be okay. Believe it's the person that is the plain shirt right there. Plain shirt. Their ambulance are going to make sure that they're way over here. They're going to be okay. They're going to transfer them into the hospital. It's a tense situation for these folks living in these homes, running around, weapons out, suspects on the loose. I can tell you they've given away to an end the commands guiding them. Grateful consideration that came to an end, especially when there was a car crashing. When I was at school before I graduated almost over a year ago, I talked about pit stops. And I asked my substitute teacher, can we turn this high school campus into a pit stop? Basically, and then the other classmates told me, no, you can get rid of, the teacher can get rid of that. And the substitute teacher said, no, Albert, no, you may not. And then the substitute teacher told me before we graduated the last day of school, and the teacher told me, Albert, I'm not gonna play what if and what that womp. And all of this that they are tuning in to my live streaming. Thank you, because I want to tell you positively before I keep doing this hour long. It's gonna be closed off to several streets. You're gonna bear with me when I'm gonna need you to calm down. I need you to wait your patience as well. I'm gonna need to I like these people from Fox Good Day LA. Every weekday mornings. Weekdays every morning. Weekdays on Fox Good LA, Fox 11. It's on Fox 11. It's on Fox 11. Morning News, Good Day LA. I like that. Alright, I'm gonna let you. I want to back this up and re-rack it a little bit.
It's an area where anything could happen now, and there are not a lot of people around. It doesn't look like all of these homeowners are awake just yet. So, we don't have eyeballs on every single property, on every little movement that's happening.
Yeah, Julia, and at this point,
I'm gonna let you listen. I'm gonna let you listen to the video for several hours now. I'm gonna let you watch and react to this for several hours now. I'm gonna let you listen now for several hours until I speak as well. So you keep listening for several more hours.
Extensive. I can tell you the crash was violent, and I can tell you the LAFD ambulance that pulled up a couple minutes ago left without loading up any patients. So I did not see anybody walking out of that car, but beyond that, nothing has been confirmed.
Julia, we just got some new information. NBC4 Investigates has learned that 5 suspects are part of this. They were seen, according to investigators, they were seen taking boxes from a warehouse and then putting it into that U-Haul that we've been showing you throughout the morning. Putting it into that U-Haul. This happened on the 1100 block of 32nd Street. And again, that then led to that pursuit of that U-Haul vehicle that ended at Randy's Donuts in Inglewood, with the suspects ditching the U-Haul. So you're looking at the boxes. Again, according to NBC4 Investigates, sources telling NBC4 Investigates that the suspects were loading those boxes from that warehouse into that U-Haul on the 1100 block of 32nd, leading to the pursuit, which then led to the suspects ditching that U-Haul at the Randy's Donuts in Inglewood, getting into another car, and then getting into that collision in Hyde Park, where we have News Chopper 4 on the left side of your screen right now. So, Julia, we have new information about what these suspects were wanted for, and that kind of sheds a little bit more light under this case here.
Yeah, big props to our teammates over at NBC4 Investigates, but I want to know now what exactly was in those boxes. And this is a tricky one for LAPD. I mean, 5 suspects, and the key one here, the driver in this black sedan, the second pursuit vehicle, still not in custody, but you can see up near the top of our screen where LAPD has set up flares now. That's going to be the major here. That is West 48th Street. So I think until they get this cleaned up, so there's the crash they have to investigate and clean up, and then they have to find this suspect and take that driver into custody. But until that happens, I think this entire area is going to be closed. So if you have business around here, if you need to drive through Crenshaw, Lamert Park, Vermont Square, definitely.
Yeah, you have every business.
Minute to minute.
Yeah, you have every business to be here. You have every business. Excuse me. You have every business to go take a drive-through. Go have business. You have business. If you have business, if you have business going to work, go ahead. Go to work. You have business. Go ahead. Go to work. Make money. Make some deliveries. Get paid. Stay in your lane. Move along. Don't sit there and watch the pursuit. Let them do their job, and let the news agencies take notes and document all of this chase on their phones or legal pads whatsoever, like I'm doing on my legal pad. Anyway, I'm gonna let you listen now. Take a drive-through. Keep it moving.
Of the neighborhood, and just, this is a residential area. There are a number of homes there, and again, police still don't at this point have eyes on this driver, on the suspect.
Yeah, Camilla, absolutely. It's residential, like you said. It's quiet.
There are neat pockets of homes here with backyards. I know people walk in this area. There are small businesses. It's going to be just southwest of USC. You don't expect this kind of thing to happen here. I mean, nobody expects that to happen when they get on the roads, to be slammed into by somebody being pursued by police. But it happens way too often in LA. And then after something like that, it can get even dicier. The pursued suspect can get out after a crash and then try to make a run for it. And if they're in an area like this, they can run right into somebody's backyard. Yeah. So that's what happened here. It wasn't just one backyard. It was at least two. So I'm seeing more lights come on now in these homes along Arlington Avenue, just off of 48th Street. So everybody in this area, they need to be aware that this is still very much an active search, and we don't know much about that driver. We don't know if that individual might be armed and dangerous.
Yeah, anybody living in that area near Hyde Park, near 40th and Arlington, should lock their doors. Don't let anybody in because, again, these suspects are still on the loose. Julie, also wanted to point out, we had mentioned that there were 5 suspects wanted initially. At least one now is in custody. But, again, the search is ongoing for at least 4 others at this point. Those suspects were seen taking boxes from a warehouse on 32nd Street, the 1100 block of 32nd, loading it into U-Haul. That led to the pursuit.
That is why I was talking about. That is why I was talking about.
I was right. Chase in which the suspects got into a black car, drove extremely erratically, recklessly, dangerously, and that led to that collision you saw right there on the right side of your screen, with the driver then jumping out and then jumping a fence and heading towards a shed. And the search is ongoing for that driver, as well as several other people wanted in connection with this case. So, Julia, any further information about the people in that vehicle who were struck by the suspects?
Nothing new on that just yet, and we're being very careful here not to shoot that damage too tight in case there's anything graphic. We don't know exactly what's happening with that innocent bystander, the other driver, and we still do not have confirmation as to how many other people might have been in that car. But we do know with the pursuit vehicle, like you just laid out, Adrian, one person now in custody, one out of the at least 5 that are wanted in connection with this burglary pursuit. But the driver of the black sedan is still outstanding. They are still searching. And I'm really curious as to what they had in those boxes. They loaded up into that U-Haul, the first pursuit vehicle here, because I'm wondering, was it all worth it? I mean, think about the public resources now being deployed. We've got at least a dozen LAPD vehicles on the ground here, more than 20 officers. You can see they're doing traffic control now. They had to call in LAFD, the city fire department. They sent an ambulance here. That ambulance left without loading up any passengers, and then the LAPD helicopter has been over this the entire time, burning fuel now for over an hour. So I want to know what it is they were trying to steal, because this pursuit played out over a large area. So many officers had been called to this, and the worst part of it is that an innocent bystander was likely hurt here.
That's right, Julia. It's 6:30 right now, and if you're just joining us, the breaking news this morning, there has been a police pursuit and a crash. NBC4 Investigates has learned that there were a number of burglary suspects wanted for stealing boxes out of a warehouse on 32nd Street. And you've seen those boxes on the right side of your screen. Those boxes are inside a U-Haul. So the suspects were seen taking those boxes, loading it into that U-Haul truck. That led to a pursuit. At one point, the suspects then ditched the U-Haul truck at the Randy's Donuts in Inglewood, a big landmark here in Southern California. They then get into another car. There's that car right there on the right side of your screen. Led police on a pursuit there. Got involved in that collision, again, near 48th and Arlington. And then you can see the driver there jumping out of the vehicle, then running through the neighborhood. Again, in total, we understand that 5 people are wanted involved in this case. So far, one is in custody, and we don't think it's that driver that you see on the screen right there. So right now, police are looking for that person as well as others wanted in connection with the case. On the left side of your screen, you're seeing kind of that point of that collision in which we've seen paramedics respond to that location. Not clear how that innocent bystander who was struck, how that person is doing. But NBC4's Julia Dang has been covering this story from the very start. Julia, what do you want to start with here? There's so much to get to.
Adrian, I want to start with some new information. Now, we're not going to lay out exactly what type of business because this has not been confirmed yet, but I do want to let viewers know that somebody actually just called our news desk to say that those boxes were taken from a friend's small business. It was some kind of warehouse. So we are making headway with that particular question, what was taken that led to this burglary pursuit. As for what's happening here on the ground around Arlington Avenue and 48th, you can see there is not a lot of progress. They do not have that driver in custody yet. One person out of the 5 that are currently wanted is in custody. 4 still outstanding. And we don't have an update, a confirmed update just yet about the condition of the other driver involved here, the innocent bystander.
Yeah, so many different parts to this investigation, Julia, here this morning. And on your right, you're looking at some live images of that crash where the suspect in that black sedan crashed into an innocent bystander. And as Julia has been reporting, we still don't have any updates at this hour on how that driver is doing. We also don't know if there were any additional people in that car. So that's what we're still working to confirm with LAPD. But right now at 6:33, the LAPD is still searching for that suspect that took off from that black sedan and ran into this neighborhood here in Hyde Park, jumped over a fence into the backyard of someone's home. And again, at this point, Julia, LAPD still has not made contact with that driver.
That's correct. They have not made contact with the driver. We have not seen them detaining anybody around this scene, and now they have more traffic control going on. They're fanning out around this perimeter and making sure other drivers don't come in here. So what's really interesting, I'm pulling up the traffic map, one of the smart maps on my phone. I think this is how most of us get around LA, and this closure actually is not showing up just yet on the smart map that I'm checking. So be aware of this. Do not take Arlington Avenue near 48th. You probably want to stay south of Slauson to avoid this jam. And then to the north of this perimeter, you can try Vernon Avenue. If you want to go even north of there, that might be a good idea. You're not seeing a lot of traffic just yet, but as the sun starts to come up and we approach that morning commute hour, I think if this search continues on, this is going to get really tricky for traffic. But you can see LAPD here. This is one of several locations they're investigating. We also have NBC4 crews at different locations. And our news desk, I mentioned earlier, they got a call about where those boxes came from, the warehouse they were stolen from. A viewer told us it was his friend's business. So we're actually sending one of our ground crews to check out that tip and confirm exactly what was stolen.
Right, Julia, thank you. All right, so to get you familiar with the location here, it's relatively in between View Park and USC Exposition Park. The surrounding neighborhoods, Leimert Park, Vermont Square. So we're going to bring in Robin Whitson right now, our traffic anchor. Robin, this is a time of day where many people are going to work, a lot of people getting ready to take the kids to school. What advice would you give for people who have to travel through this area and go about their daily tasks and chores?
Yeah, to just avoid it altogether. I mean, as we see from this live shot, it's still an active scene. Of course, there's no estimated time of clearing because this is all fresh and still developing. As I pointed out earlier, there's also a bus stop on 48th and Arlington Avenue, so that's going to start impacting folks hopping on Metro and heading to work this morning. Julia Dang showed us the live shot of the intersection, which is blocked off. You can see them diverting some of that traffic. She mentioned staying south of Slauson, which is a great idea. That's going to be south of all this activity. To the north, you have Vernon Avenue. That can be used as an alternate. To the west, you have
have Crenshaw, and you also have Western Avenue. So there are several ways to get around this police activity, and I would just plan ahead, think ahead before hitting the road. But definitely not a good idea to be driving through this active police activity. And once again, there is no estimated time of clearing. You also have major freeways in the area. To the east of this activity, you have the 110. To the north, you have the 10. So folks are going to be trying to access those areas as well. So once again, for people traveling through Hyde Park, Leimert Park, Vermont Square, this is going to impact your commute. So please plan ahead and once again, avoid it altogether and consider those alternates that we just gave you. Back to the desk.
Robin, thank you so much. And we want to get back to our Julia Dang in News Chopper 4 right now. Julia, do we have any updates on schools in the area that may be impacted by this?
Not quite yet, because school has not started just yet, but just steps from here, a little bit west of this scene along 52nd Street is going to be Crenshaw High School.
How do you think the schools are not starting yet? It's supposed to start at about 15-20 minutes.
And if you look at the center of our street right now, you can see the LAPD airship.
Yeah, I'll let you listen for another more hour.
Helicopter has been on scene this whole time. They are still searching for the driver. At the second property, we think that driver might have run into. That one was on 52nd Street, just blocks again from Crenshaw High School. I believe there's also a prep academy to the east of this scene, so that's two different campuses here that might be.
NBC4 Investigates this morning learned that there were 5 suspects in total that are part of this, but we're just now learning at this hour that there are now 2.
Yeah, there's a airplane of LAX taking off on a
that took off
from a black sedan and ran
vacation.
Vacation. It is okay. It's not funny, okay? Let's be serious. I'm gonna be serious.
See the live pictures here out of Inglewood, and that's where the U-Haul truck is, and that's the initial U-Haul that these suspects were in before they ditched it at Randy's Donuts parking lot there.